Just got back from picking up some medication. I've been dealing with a urinary tract infection for the last week. TMI for some of you, but this is one of the real parts of having a spinal cord injury. And as a quadriplegic, it's specifically one of the most difficult things that you go through. It's just an infection of the urinary tract, whether it's in bladder, kidneys, whatever. But they become pretty annoying after a while, and it's really hard not only to get rid of them, but it's hard to avoid them just because of the nature of the disability. But you would think that the hard part is getting rid of the infection, or sometimes the aches, the pain, the discomfort. But really the more difficult part, I think, is the mental part of it. It's exhausting. It's just over and over again. It's pretty difficult. But I've been with a spinal cord injury for 31 years now, and every so often I get these urinary tract infections, UTIs, and I know what to expect now at this point for the most part. And I think everybody that has a spinal cord injury at some point in their lives, they're probably going to get a UTI. Some people get them very, very rarely. Some people get them more often. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, just depending on the season, depending on a whole bunch of other things. But you never get used to them. You can never get used to them. It's just one of those things where it comes and it's going to happen. You're feeling it, and it's here we go again, right? Here we go again. And you just have to do the things that you need to do to take care of it. Like I said, for some people they're harder than others to treat. For me, it's just all over the place. They're very unpredictable. Sometimes I just feel a little bit sick, and then it goes away in a couple of days. Sometimes I've ended up in urgent care, the ER, to get a shot, antibiotics. It's just, you never know what's going to happen with a UTI. But I know for certain that you have to take care of it, because if you don't, it can really get complicated for you. And some people with spinal cord injuries will die because of a UTI, and obviously that's the least of things that you want when it comes to UTI. But yeah, and you say you don't have a lot of sensation below your injury. Like in my case, I don't have a lot of sensation below my chest. But the UTI is still going to cause spikes in blood pressure with autonomic dysreflexia, which I'll talk about that eventually. But this is one of the things about spinal cord injuries in the behind the scenes that nobody really knows about. People just think, and you might think, just that the spinal cord injury and this paralysis is just not being able to walk, right? But it comes with a lot of health issues, specifically the UTIs. Now, for me, the more difficult part that I can talk about, I think it's the mental part of it. It's the here we go again. This is happening one more time. Am I going to get really sick? Am I going to be able to get out of bed tomorrow? Can I go to work? It's that uncertainty, in a life that's already full of uncertainty, and in a life that's already full of challenges and aches and pains and just all this mental shit that you have to go through. And then you throw a UTI, man, it becomes even more, right? I don't have the luxury of missing too many days of work. I don't have the luxury of losing out on some of the things that I need to do. Some people might be able to, and maybe I can't. It's one of those things where you have to. I'm getting tired here. It's one of those things where I have to figure it out, right? I have to figure it out if I need to miss work and so on and so forth. But for the most part, it's always a UTI that gets me sick enough to the point where I'm considering not being able to work, but I can go to work. So I just decide to go to work, right? And it's because of that mental part of it as well. I don't want to be all depressed. I don't want to be at home, just dealing with it. But anyway, the mental part is probably the most difficult part of a UTI. If you have a spinal cord injury and you've had UTIs or you don't get them, how do you deal with them? Leave a comment below. What's your strategy? What do you take? I'll maybe make a video eventually of my routine for avoiding UTIs. Even though it's not the most effective, it kind of works. Or if you have a loved one, that has spinal cord injury and has UTIs, how do you deal with it? How do they deal with it? Or, do you have any questions? Leave them below in the comments. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.